Hi there, Janet Fritz here for Galaxy Girl Creations. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to another day of the best of 30 days of sketches. I'm going to be working on some embellishment clusters based off of this sketch from scrapbooks, etc.
Okay, so for day 8, this is the sketch. I am going to do some embellishments, and this time I'm going to do 3. I'm going to use these 3 as my inspiration, and I'm not doing a bunch of 2x2 squares or anything like that, like taking the whole sketch and shrinking it down. I'm just going to use these 3 embellishment areas as my inspiration for 3 different embellishment areas. So let me go and sketch out really loosely what I think this is going to look like. So the first one, I'm going to do a circle, a really bad circle, and then I'm going to do another circle, and I think I might have a die that is similar to like a porthole. If not, I'll make my own, not a big deal. And then I'm going to make a square coming off of it because it is sitting on a square, and I think that's okay. And I think I'll do a little mixed media on the square with my little fishy stencil. So I will have some little fishies. Okay. And I might make it a sequin shaker. Okay, so that's the first one. The second one, so that is actually taking the place of the sun, because I'm not going to do a sun, and it has these little dots, and to me that kind of makes it feel like it's a shaker, and so I think that would work well. And then my other one, I'm gonna go and do this one next. So similarly, I will make a circle and another circle, but this one is going to be one of those life preserver circles because I don't need 2 portholes. Okay, I might have another square coming off of it, and maybe, let's see here, I might make that come out just a bit more, or at least be straight. And then I might put a larger fish. I might have a die for a fish. If not, you know, I can always cut a fish. Get his little nose cut off there. And then have some bubbles coming up like this. I don't know, something like that. And I might make this a shaker also. Oh my goodness. She can't spell. Hello. Sequin shaker. Okay, and then the the third one, oh my goodness, it's going to be this, and this made me think of waves. And I have a wave punch that I should be able to use. And this is going to be a really terrible drawing, but really I should learn to draw that top layer first. Maybe by the time I'm done with this exercise. It has kind of that kind of a look across it, and then waves. Okay, now it would look probably a lot better if it didn't have all this other stuff in between, but that's what I'm thinking. And then I might tuck some sequins into the waves just so that it kind of goes with those two. So that is my idea for these 3.
So I started out with these dies. Now the one on the right hand side, the porthole, and the other die came in a set from Elizabeth Craft Designs. So I'm not sure that it's intended to be a porthole, but it certainly looks like one. And then the other 2 are just circle dies that I pulled from my collection of dies, and they are nesting dies, so I tried to pull 2 that were far enough apart in size that it's going to look a little bit like a life preserver, but they are not so far apart that it looks like a donut. And what I did was I took my white paper and I am going to add some foam to it. And I thought I was making a huge mistake. Well, I thought I made a huge mistake after I ran these through, but it's going to work out great. So I'm just using some white foam from Walmart, bear with me here. And I am adding some white cardstock to the top of the white foam. That cardstock is going to help to keep these really circular. If you don't add the cardstock, the foam will stretch and such when you pull it off of the die cut or off of the metal die, and you kind of lose that shape. So I also wanted to make sure that I had a piece of paper on top, paper layer, so that I could alter them easily. What I didn't think about was I need to have some acetate in between those two pieces. So I am going to fix that by running another piece of cardstock through, and the same way, but I'm also going to run a piece of acetate through with just the larger dies. And so then I will create a sandwich for the acetate. So the acetate will be on top of the piece that I just cut, and then when I cut the next piece of white cardstock with the nested dies, they will go on top of that. So here I am cutting the acetate with the largest of the two dies, and then here I am using the nested dies again to cut two more rings, where I will sandwich the acetate in between the rings that I just cut and the foam rings that I cut earlier. Hopefully that all made sense. So it took me a few seconds to figure out how I could correct my mistake, because I was like, oh no, I'm gonna have to start all over. But really it's okay, because I didn't want to cut that foam without having some paper on it, because it would have lost its shape. Now I could have easily just used a strip of foam and put it underneath, but this worked just as well. So it was a good way to fix it, a good way to resolve the issue. Now, had I been thinking, I would have, instead of gluing this piece down, I would have done a little mixed media on it first, because I am going to alter that to be kind of like a bronzy, silvery color, kind of like a worn metal porthole. But I didn't think about that in advance. And I just set that stack of cardstock on there to kind of hold it while it was drying. Now this piece, I don't mind that I put the white on there, because it's going to be white with kind of a red color. I think I'm going to end up using abandoned coral, actually. And I am just going to, I cut a third ring in the same, out of those same two nested dies. I'm going to ink that up, and then I'm just going to cut it out of there. I could have easily drawn the little pieces on there onto the ring that I've already got going on and colored them in, but this worked much better in my opinion. I was able to get them all the exact same size with the same angles, because I just took the first one, lined it up, and cut along the lines so that they all matched. So now it looks like a life preserver. So I think if I had tried to draw them on there, it would not have been as uniform. So yeah, I probably would have made a big mess of it. So this worked out really well, and I'm pretty happy with the way that it ended up turning out. So now I know I'm going to need a piece to back those. So I'm creating a little mixed media piece here on top of this really old Felicity Jane paper. I'm using some Dylusions spray in London Blue and in Vibrant Turquoise, I believe is what that is. And then I added a little bit of white linen shimmer spray. I'm going to use this stencil from Hero Arts rather than my typical fishy stencil that you guys have probably seen a million times. This one has a few fish on it. It also has some waves. It's got some really cool stuff on it. So I have not used it yet, and I wanted to make sure that you use your supplies. So this was a good one to pull out. Now, if you recall in the sketch, I wanted to create some bubbles for that little fishy. So I just pulled out the mint hydrangea paper glaze and created some bubbles on that vellum, and that vellum's going to sit behind that fishy on the life preserver. And then I'm just putting some waves on this circular piece that I die cut. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this at this point. I think I might use it on one of them, but I'm not really sure what I'm going to do. So Then I pulled out the mint hydrangea. I was not at home and I totally forgot my Snowdrop White paper glaze, so I decided just to go ahead and use the mint hydrangea one. And then I think that one, the blue one, is called Ocean Poppy. And so I just put some of those on there. And here's where I'm going to go ahead and brush on some more paper glaze in, I think it's called Golden Rose, and in our Artemisia Silver. I always say this one, or I always struggle with saying that one. I will have links for all of these products down below. There are quite a few products today, so I want to make sure that I cover all of them. But you can find the links for them down below for anything that I'm using or that I can find online still, because some of the things that I do have are a little bit older, but I'll do my best to find them for you. So yeah, I'm just kind of dry brushing these on because I don't want to warp the paper, and I'm kind of mixing the two up on the paper rather than like in a jar or on like an acetate sheet or on my mixed media mat there or anything. I am using my little pokey tool to kind of clean out the little holes that make it look like it's a porthole. And then I had put some of those fishies on top of that mixed media piece to create the background for what is going inside the porthole. Unfortunately, I did not wait long enough, and a couple of those fishies were a little bit wet. They weren't wet to the touch, but they were a little bit wet, and they kind of got squashed. So I do that part over, but I don't think I make you sit there and watch it. Oh, here, I am making you sit here and watch it. So go me. I just show you that I did make a mistake, and I had to go back and do those fishies over. And then I'm going to go ahead and add my sequins to the little pockets here. And I didn't put anything inside of the life preserver background. I didn't like add anything to the mixed media piece. I'm just leaving it plain. And I think that's okay. It's a smaller piece and it doesn't really need much more. It's got the fish on top. It's got plenty of interest. But I thought it worked well to have the fishies on the outside of the porthole, or maybe it's on the inside of the porthole. I have no idea. But I thought it looked really cute. So that one definitely has little fishies on the inside, and they are dry now. So I came back quite a bit later. The paper glaze does dry really fast. It was dry to the touch. It just wasn't dry enough to sandwich it through a die cut machine. So I'm just letting that kind of set up to make sure that all of the glue made contact. And now I'm going to go ahead and cut my vellum. This vellum is really old. It's from Mrs. Grossman's. I've got quite a bit of it, so I am making good use of it for this layout, or these embellishment clusters. I think it's going to work well. It's not exactly white. It's got a little tiny hint of like a teal blue color to it, and so it works well with the mixed media backgrounds that I have going on behind the two circles there. So that fishy dye, I believe that is a dye from Do Crafts. I think it's one of their dinky dyes. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I believe that's where he came from. And he's super cute, so had to go ahead and use him. And I think I just used the leftover ink that was on my yellow and my red brushes, which would have been Scattered Straw and Abandoned Coral. So those are the two little shaker pockets. And then I had to wait until I was home to do the waves because I didn't have my wave punch with me. And in fact, I actually found these three wave dies in a batch of dies that I got at a yard sale, no less. So I can't tell you who made them because I don't know. I just bought one of those plastic bins, one of the art bins that has like the magnetic sheets, and it was stuffed full of dies. And this lady had probably, I don't know, a dozen of those at her yard sale, and she was asking like $20 for the whole case. So I bought like 4 of them. This happened to be in one of them, and it doesn't say who they're by. So I thought they were really cute, and they were a little bit different than my wave punch, which is a Fisker's punch. And so I thought I'll go ahead and use those. And so I pulled out another piece of vellum in a darker teal color than I originally used for the other two pieces, and I kind of layered it up with the lighter color. just to kind of give some depth and dimension to it. And I'm pretty happy with the way it came out. So I had just a little bit left over of the mixed media paper, or the paper that I had sprayed with mixed media. So I'm using that for the background. And then I am just using my Nuvo Deluxe adhesive to adhere it all together. And then I'm going to add some sequins like I had mentioned before. The sequins that I'm using in all of these pockets are from Spiegel Mom Scraps. They are the Easter egg hunt packet of sequins. I was going to say collection. I'm like, that's not the right word. Yeah, so it's called Easter egg hunt. And I am just scattering a few around here and there and keeping it pretty simple. While I do that, I will remind you there are a bunch of people playing along there, more than likely doing layouts today. So I'm just trying something a little bit different where I do some embellishments for a couple of days, and then I'm going to use them on layouts. And the embellishments are based off of the layouts or the sketches for the day that I create them. So I hope that you're enjoying this series, and there are the completed pieces that I made. I hope that you like those. If you have questions or comments, you can leave those down below. I will get back to you as quickly as I can. It does take me a couple of days often, and so be patient and I will respond. If you liked this video, I would love a thumbs up, and if you're not already subscribed, I would love for you to subscribe to my channel as well. Thank you for spending time with me. Don't forget to check out everyone else playing along, and I will see you guys again tomorrow with another video, and it will be a layout using these embellishments. See you then. Bye-bye.